Messages of condolences continue to pour in for ANC struggle stalwart Aziz Pahad. The former Deputy Minister of International Relations passed away yesterday at the age of 82. Now, he played a key role in South Africa's transition to democracy. But for more on this, we're joined by the family spokesperson, Fazal Randera. A very good morning to you, sir. A good morning, but also a bitter, sad morning. Our condolences to yourself as well as the family. How would you describe the late Mr. Pahad?
You know, there are many, many memories that flood in about our former Deputy Minister, Aziz Pahad. I've had a friendship with him going through many decades. In fact, short memory before he left South Africa in the late 50s, and then rekindling that friendship when I met him in London on several occasions. And in many ways, my becoming a doctor, I have a personal gratitude to him, because when I was studying for my A-levels in London, I had applied to get into medical school, had not heard from any of the universities, went to see Aziz, and he advised that I should write a letter to several medical schools explaining why I had come to London in the first place. So Aziz, I have great admiration for. He was a mentor, he was a friend. In recent times, of course, his illness prevented him from participating in many of the activities that still continue to challenge us here in South Africa. But I know that Aziz's heart was always in South Africa, a great contributor to South Africa, a wonderful politician, a person who had fantastic humor, and we will miss him. And let me say at the outset, sincere condolences to Angela and the Pahad family. They've had to deal with so many losses in the last few months, and this must come as a great blow to them as well.
Certainly very, very tragic. You speak about the solutions that he was able to bring, and it's quite clear from what you're recounting how he said write a letter, that he was very solutions-oriented. Talk to us about the things that mattered to him. What was in his heart, do you believe?
Well, in his heart, in more recent times, of course, was a great concern about what is going on in our country. Aziz was a sincere member of the ANC right to the end. And of course, if we look at his history and the contribution that he made from such a young age, the role that he played with former President Thabo Mbeki in initiating discussions with the apartheid regime in the 80s, coming back to South Africa, playing the role that he played as a foreign minister. And many, many, many people would say that Aziz was a significant player and the architect of our foreign policy. Yes, of course, there are many voices today, for instance. Sorry, just give me. There are many voices critical of our foreign policy, but our foreign policy stands as one that Aziz and many others, of course, contributed towards as a country that stands out, that has stood up for the developed world and for the developing world and for us in South Africa. So, and Aziz, of course, had a great sense of humor. He was very much a family man as well.
Talking about family, his family was always very politically inclined. Talk to us about the type of family that he comes from. I mean, his brother, who passed away in July, Aziz Pahad, was also very much involved in the struggle. Talk to us about that relationship and the relationship that he had with his family and where they are placed.
You know, let's go back to his parents. Amina and Ghulam Pahad. If one goes back to that history, and it's been written by many people, including our former president Mandela, their flat was very close to where the Tambo Mandela legal practice was in Newtown, Johannesburg. President Mandela speaks very warmly about how he would go and have lunch at the flat. Many people went through that flat. Both Yusuf and Aziz grew up in that environment. I mean, we've lost many veterans of our struggle who went around that flat. Of course, Amina took part in many of the marches that took place in the 40s and 50s. The father himself was arrested until he finally left the country in the 50s. And of course, Aziz and Yusuf, from their student days, and I'm talking about high school, had become involved in the Transvaal Indian Congress. Later, they of course met with youth congresses, and especially with Thabo Mbeki. They were also harassed and arrested for short periods, and because banning orders were so common in those days, they finally left the country and did not return until the negotiations really started here in South Africa. So, and in that period in London, of course, Aziz and Yusuf continued to play their role not only within the African National Congress, but also within the Communist Party and the anti-apartheid movement. Aziz, let me say, was a great lover not only of football, but especially rugby. And his contribution in the anti-apartheid movement to stopping sporting activities with the apartheid regime at the time will always stand up as another major contribution that he made.
Mr. Randera, thank you so much for your time and just giving us a better and closer context to the amazing life that Aziz Pahad have led. Thank you so much for your time. That's family spokesperson there, Fazal Randera, on the passing of Aziz Pahad, who passed away at the age of 82.